W.F. House presents an unabridged recording of Nettle and Bone by T. Kingfisher. Narrated by Amara Jasper.
Chapter 1. The trees were full of crows, and the woods were full of madmen. The pit was full of bones, and her hands were full of wires. Her fingers bled where the wire ends cut her. The earliest cuts were no longer bleeding, but the edges had gone red and hot, with angry streaks running backward over her skin. The tips of her fingers were becoming puffy and less nimble. Marra was aware that this was not a good thing, but the odds of living long enough for infection to kill her were so small that she could not feel much concern. She picked up a bone, a long, thin one, from the legs, and wrapped the ends with wire. It fit alongside another long bone, not from the same animal, but close enough, and she bound them together and fit them into the framework she was creating. The charnel pit was full, but she did not need to dig too deeply. She could track the progression of starvation backward through the layers. They had eaten deer and had eaten cattle. When the cattle ran out and the deer were gone, they ate the horses. And when the horses were gone, they ate the dogs. When the dogs were gone, they ate each other. It was the dogs she wanted. Perhaps she might have built a man out of bones, but she had no great love of men any longer. Dogs, though. Dogs were always true. He made harp pegs of her fingers fair. Marra sang softly, tunelessly, under her breath, and strung the bones with her golden hair. The crows called to each other from the trees in solemn voices. She wondered about the harper in the song, and what he had thought when he was building the harp of a dead woman's bones. He was probably the only person in the world who would understand what she was doing. Assuming he even existed in the first place, and if he did, what kind of life do you lead where you find yourself building a harp out of corpses? For that matter, what kind of life do you lead where you find yourself building a dog out of bones? Many of the bones had been cracked open for marrow. If she could find two that went together, she could bind them back to wholeness. But often the breaks were jagged. She had to splint them together with the wires, leaving bloody fingerprints across the surface of the bones. That was fine. That was part of the magic.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?